So we have a whole lot of watering to do out here in California in this backyard, and we use this water barrel system to save us water in summer. So thanks to Ben, I pretty much copied his idea nearly exactly, except I made a few modifications that fit my space and my design a little better. One is I raised the riser up a little bit more so I have storage room underneath. Instead of just having it just a foot off the ground, it's a couple feet off the ground. I'm able to put some pretty big pots under there. That also gives a little bit more gravity for the water to flow out if I wanted it to just free flow out the spigot. A few other modifications I made was I used a regular ball spigot instead of the quarter turn spigot that Ben had showed in his video. That quarter turn spigot has a small little opening, about a quarter inch, for the water to flow through. This actually has a whole about half-inch opening for the water to flow through, so you get more water out when you open this. Also, I added a 1.5 inch valve so that I can use buckets and fill them up quickly and easily. It also makes a good clean out for any debris that gets in the piping below. Another big thing I did was I added a clear tube on the fill line so that I can tell how full it is. It gets a little dirty in there, but after it drains, all this stuff that grows on the side just seems to go down the pipe, and it seems to be clean at the end of the season when I empty the barrels. That is filled up. Now, Ben had a really cool little thing that he designed, but mine is this little thing that comes from Etsy. I'll leave a link below so that you know how to order it. I'll also leave a link on where I got the clear pipe from. It's actually clear PVC, 1.5 inch. You can get it in various sizes, and I also got the 1.5 inch 90-degree angles so that I can go ahead and watch how full it is all the way down to the bottom piping. I also added this water pump so I can actually get pressure, not just a trickle from gravity, but I can actually get good water pressure to use with my garden hose. And it just needs a wee bit of electricity, which I happen to have already run right above it for my security lights. But this is the magic to making your water flow nice and smoothly anywhere in the yard, and you don't need to have gravity and worry about how high your riser is. So the only big thing you need to know about these water pumps is you want to get a diaphragm water pump. These are pretty easy to spot. They have 4 of these round chambers on the top. Many have 3, and the problem with the 3 is when you get your water pressure low coming out of your hose, you'll have a pulsing. It'll just be literally pulsing the water. This, you'll hear the motor pulse, but the water flow will stay constant, whether it's slow or full speed coming out of the hose. And now all I have to do to make this work is turn on that valve, flip on the pump. It will slowly pulse, will fill up. Now I have free flowing water. And when I'm done with the system, when I'm done with watering, I just turn that off and close that for safety. And that's it. Everything else about the system is pretty much cut and dry. I didn't do anything special to the piping below. Just attached it. I did add a valve here so that I could trap the water in the barrels if I need to do any type of adjustment to the plumbing on the outside here. That did come in handy once, so I'm glad I did it, but it's only come in handy once. The one last thing I did to Ben's idea was the little bit of threaded PVC pipe that came through this plug. I went ahead and put a cap on it, drilled a hole through the cap, and then I take a little piece of mesh material and shove in there so that no bugs or insects will come and live there or plug up the hole, and it still allows air to flow through easily. The material I used, although you can use anything from Brillo pad to steel wool, was this blue filter material made for your air filters for your AC and heater. Had a piece of it laying around, so I cut it up. As you can see, I just cut a little piece out here and stuffed it into the hole, and that helps protect the barrels and the water inside and the tube from being infiltrated by pests. Now let me show you the rest of the barrel system in the front yard. So this is my second barrel system. I took a few things I learned from my first one in the backyard and applied this to some space I had in the front yard. And in doing so, because it was noticeable by the neighbors, I went ahead and put this little wood facade on it so that it looks nice from the street and from the neighbor's yard, so they don't have to look at a bunch of blue barrels. As you can see, I did as I did in the front. I used one of these that I found on Etsy, and I'll be sure to add that link so that you can order it yourself. I just made a little coupler to go to my filling station, and this is where the water comes down the drain pipe, goes into here, goes that way, and then as you can see, it's at the top of the barrels, comes all the way down and goes into my under piping. This here is the spigot, so I can open that up to get some water out. And this here is actually a pipe. The lower pipe is going to my backyard, so I can actually use the water back there. But the big difference that I had in this one is that between each barrel I put a valve, and then I also used a rubber coupler to couple the barrel into the piping, so that if I ever need to maintain any particular barrel, I can turn off this valve and I can come over here to the other valve, turn that off. Now we can come remove this coupling and do whatever maintenance I need to do with the barrel. Once it's done, I just need to open these valves again, and my system is back to working. I've done that with every one of the barrels. Came over here, see, to the corner, pipe comes around, one more valve and one more coupler, and then I put a tap here on the end in case I want to expand the system and bring more barrels out to this side. I can go ahead and enlarge the system without having to do much other than unscrew one plug and add some more piping and barrels. And that is it. That is my barrel system in the front yard. And I will show you the rest of it that I have going to the backyard. That tells me how full it is, and I'll show you the pump. Okay, so I'm now in my backyard where I have vegetable garden, greenhouse, and the rest of our garden and landscape in the back. And this is where I need the water, because the front yard is fully taken care of on its own, being native plants that don't need watering. Right behind this shed is my barrel system, my second one with the 6 barrels. I ran the pipe back through here and then up to this, put a T section down here, and then that T section I added a piece of clear 3/4 inch pipe so that now I can see where my water level is. I do have to have a little vent on the top, so let's put a rubber plug there for now. I will probably put a valve on there, but I do need to have the seal when I pump the water out, because otherwise the air goes down here and then I start sucking air when I use my water pump. So I have a valve here that I open up that allows the water to run through this little hose into a filter and into my water pump, where I can then attach garden hose. And this has a lot of water pressure. What I usually do though is I'll transfer this water to my other system, which is around the corner. Way around there, and I'll refill that up because we use that one most, but it's the smaller of the two systems. And that's it.